Evergrande has managed to make an interest payment. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Today I want to discuss Evergrande meeting an interest payment. Unfortunately, it's not for the USD foreign currency bond, but for a local yuan currency. But also, make sure you stay to the very end as we discuss a shocking fact that's emerged about the Chinese housing market. So let's have a look and let's remind ourselves about Evergrande. They have captured the world's attention. Everyone is concerned that they're the next Lehman Brothers, that they're a collapse that's going to bring the world back into a GFC. There's protesters on the streets. There's people demanding payment. People not getting their property that they've purchased. No returns for their managed funds and investments. Not just the bond holders. They've got debts totaling $305 billion, the second biggest property developer in China. They're involved in electric cars, bottled water, even a football team, guys. Now, their troubles began, Evergrande's troubles began back in August of 2020 when China imposed the 3 red lines requirements. So this was against a backdrop of growing debt levels, rising land prices, and booming sales. And here we have the 3 red lines. You can see the codes. So depending on the number of red lines you cross, well, that affects the amount of annual growth in debt that the developers are allowed. Now, the 3 red lines are: 1, a liquidity to asset ratio, so of less than 70%. The second one was net gearing ratio of less than 100%. And the third one, cash to short-term debt ratio of more than 1. So if you cross over one of those lines, one of those things, you can only grow your annual debt by 10%. Normally, you can only grow it by 15%. If you cross 2, you can only grow your debt by 5. And if you cross 3, well, you can only grow your debt by 0%. So why did China implement this? They wanted to control the housing market. Wanted to bring prices under control. The second reason was to manage the land market and to ration credit to the real estate sector and to smooth out the cycles. You also have to understand that real estate is a huge part of the Chinese economy. It's an important part of the Chinese economy. They want to get stability there. So I hear you asking how many of these companies, of these developers, are indeed at risk of not meeting these 3 red line requirements. 5%, 10%, 50%. I mean, Evergrande is in the news. Everyone's talking about it. There's concern that it's going to bring the global economy down. Surely it couldn't be that high. Over 90%, everyone. The S&P in January 2021 of this year said that 92.7% of their companies were not fully compliant with the 3 red lines, so either yellow or above. So that means only 6.3% were in the green zone of their rated companies. So that means, well, these companies are going to have to deleverage. So unable to grow their debt, Evergrande's been running out of money, everyone. They've been unable to pay contractors, suppliers, or even bond holders. They missed an $83 million USD payment back in the 23rd of March, everyone. And now they have a 30-day grace period, and it's about to come to an end. As I'm recording this, it's only a couple of days away. If they don't make this $83 million payment, and this is just interest, by the 23rd of this month, then they're in default. Now, with only days left, there is some confidence-building signs that perhaps all is not lost because, well, according to Reuters, as Bloomberg is reporting, Evergrande will make an offshore payment on Tuesday for yuan bond. So it's 4 people knowledgeable in the matter. So, 4 people knowledgeable in the matter. So that is, everyone, that is a good sign that they are indeed making these payments. But notice how the interest payments, are only in local currencies, not in USD. So who holds these bonds, everyone? Well, some of the biggest bond holders are HSBC Inc., the Royal Bank of Canada, and BlackRock Inc. These are the ones that hold the foreign USD bonds for Evergrande. Now, these bonds don't make up a substantial portion of their holdings, so there's no risk that they're going to, well, get into a lot of trouble, and they may just have to absorb the loss. That's not the end of the world. But, let's have a little bit of a talk about this, guys. Long term, this is going to force developers in China to deleverage. So it hopefully will cool down their property market, which one would imagine would be a good thing. Housing affordability is an issue in Australia. Housing affordability is an issue in China. They already have population growth issues there. People don't want to start families. People, the lying down movement. They're not taking part in anything over there. So they need to address these housing issues. Now, the fact that the interest is only being paid on local denominated currency and not the US foreign bonds, well, that may mean some foreign investors may need to take a bit of a cut, may need to take a shave and absorb that loss. Hey, they could be collector's items like the old bonds that China issued before the CCP took in power. Now, the shocking and concerning thing here is that demand for housing in China, as I promised you, has fallen by 17%. And this is, Evergrande is deterring buyers. Now, this is going to have an impact on, their entire property sector, and it may take some time to flow through and to be massaged out of the system. But it definitely will impact other countries that supply natural resources to China, like good old Australia, that's used in their construction sector. Now, one thing I want to keep an eye on. Sure, it may take a hit to some of our exporting companies, but the question is that going to increase demand for housing in Australia? Perhaps housing here may be seen as even more attractive. Property, I know it's hard for foreign investors to come into Australia. There was a big uptick of Chinese investors back when the market was overheating. But we'll have to see. Remember, the government wants to bring 2 million people back to Australia to help fill those skill gaps, everyone. So, guys, that's if you've enjoyed this video and you want to learn a little bit more about, to look at the potential impact of Evergrande on Tether and the crypto space, have a look at the video I recorded down there. There we go. I can't point to it. I'm trying a new style here, but you can see it. Click on that. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time.